At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about what you've done with those accomplishments. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. Denzel Washington. Welcome to Inspire Vision. Our sole purpose is to elevate the lives of others and to inspire you to do the same.
Jenny, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Hey, I'm glad we were able to put this together. We had kind of some confusion there, so this is great. So what I'd love for you to do, and I really like this to happen, I'd love for you to share with the audience your journey, who you are, and what journey brought you to this point in your life and what you're doing.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Jenny Harkleroad. I'm the owner of Balanced You in San Diego. I'm a mother of 4 amazing grown-up children. I'm not sure how that happened so fast. I'm an author, a speaker, a mind change coach and teacher, and I love helping people be happy and change their life because I wasn't. And it took me a lot of decades to figure it out. And now that I finally have, I don't want to keep it a secret. I don't want to just have the best life ever and not share the secrets with you. I want to tell the world how to take the shortcut to wellness, success, happiness, joy, abundance, great relationships. And I found it, and I'm excited to share it with you today.
Well, and tell us your journey. How many years ago did it start, and what were your experiences and ultimately that brought you here?
Yeah, well, my journey started way, way, way back when. My mother tells me I was born a grown-up. And I asked her what she meant by that. And she said, well, when I would tell you to do something, you would say no. And I would say yes. And you would say, you're not the boss of me. And she said, I would tell you, yes, I am. I'm your mother. And I would say, that doesn't mean you're the boss of me. So this little battle started. And when I was 2 years old, I asked if I could move out because she was trying to control my life. Can you believe it?
2 years old. Okay.
Can you fathom? Yeah. So I was born with my own independent mind, wanting to do what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it. As you can imagine, I've always been an entrepreneur because I want to be in charge. I want to be my own boss. So it started really young, but the problem was she wouldn't let me be who or how I wanted to be. And so there was this battle going on between us. And, you know, it sounds kind of funny to talk about it, but if you're the 2-year-old and somebody's controlling you and you don't like it, it weighs on you. And what happened to me was I started to develop problems with my body, sickness and chronic pain. And I had no idea it had to do with these battles with my mother, and I'm sure she had no idea either. In America, when something's wrong with your body, you go see a doctor. You know, my stomach hurts. What's wrong with my stomach? Or I've got migraines. What's wrong with my head? So I had all these body issues. I started taking prescription pain pills when I was 12, and that just went on and on and on. And in my 20s, I ended up in liver failure from all the medication and pain pills. And I was taking like 30 ibuprofen a day. I was just stuffing all my emotions, and they were coming out in pain, and I didn't know the connection. And so I was struggling from pretty young. And I just thought, you know, how unfortunate that I have all of these problems with my body. And it took me a long time to figure out that it wasn't my body. Actually, it was my mind.
Well, and you mentioned addiction. Was that just addiction to the pain pills and that type of thing? Or what was that, and how did that affect you?
Yeah, it was addiction to the pain pills. And the reason, you know, I don't want to fast forward in the story too much, but when I finally figured it all out, when I finally overcame all the pain, I was still taking the pain pills. And I was literally shocked because I had no idea that I was addicted because I was in so much pain. That's why I was taking them. Pain disappears and my body's like, go get the pills. And I was like, wait a second, but I'm not in pain. Like, what do you mean go get the pills? You know, and it was like, oh no, you need the pills. And I was like, oh, I did not know this was a thing. And
were these prescription pills?
Prescription, yeah, hydrocodone. Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. My body thought I could not survive without them. And I didn't realize that until the pain stopped and I still wanted the pills.
So how did you overcome that addiction? Because I think there's so many people that may be listening that have some type of addiction. It may not be to pain pills, it may be to something else, but how did you overcome the addiction?
That's such a great question. And my mind is racing with where to go with this story because it's like opening Pandora's box, the answer to
That's
this.
all right. Just go where you want to go and we'll direct it.
The short answer, the long answer, the medium answer. Okay, I'm going to go with the short answer. The short answer is I was taking the pain pills. Again, it had to do with my mind. Okay. And we could talk about later how I discovered this, but I thought I was taking the pain pills because I was addicted to them. What I discovered with some help of a doctor was that I was taking the pain pills to numb myself from my painful marriage.
Okay.
When I figured that out, I thought, this is ridiculous. I am not going to take pain pills to numb myself from my marriage. It was the aha, it was the awareness that made me never take another one from that moment on. Now, I thought I was going to freak out and die because of the withdrawals and all the things, but I was able to overcome it because of the information that I received. When I just thought I was addicted and I couldn't stop, well, I'm addicted and I need help. But when it's like, no, you're just numbing because of this other pain, I was able to stop. It was rough.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet. And what I find interesting, when I was practicing dentistry, I used to have a little subspecialty of head and neck pain. And it was interesting because people at that point in time, they all called it TMJ, and people would come into my office and go, oh, I have TMJ. And I'm looking at them and, being the smart aleck that I am, I'd go, okay, so you actually have two. You've got one on one side, one on the other side, temporal mandibular joint. So what's your problem? Oh, well, I'm having headaches or I'm having this. And I said, okay. And so I realized that so often we tend to look at the generalities rather than getting to the solution and getting to the actual cause. And once I was helping them with that, we'd find certain muscles that were going into spasm or the relationship of the jaws or whatever that happened to be. And most of the time we were able to take care of that issue. And so what you're sharing, I think, is fascinating with the addiction. And again, there will be some people that are listening that may be experiencing this, to be able to get to the root cause and really find out why. And for you, it wasn't that, yes, hydrocodone is terribly addictive, but for you, it was that relationship you were in.
Yeah.
So what did you do about that once you quit the addiction?
I fixed the relationship. I fixed everything about my life because I discovered the secret to what was causing all my problems. And just to back up in the story a little bit and maybe fast forward, we're celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary next month. So it worked out. It was so amazing. But to back up, in 2013, I was standing on a mountain ledge with this same husband. And he said, if I was young and in shape, I'd jump off of here. I thought I was young and in shape. I looked down. I didn't look that far. But, I hadn't been practicing my parkour rollouts or anything. So when I landed on this rock below, there was just no give. And I heard a crunch in my back and I couldn't move. And he came down, climbed down, tried to get me. He couldn't get me up. Our friends couldn't get me up. They called 911. 911 sent in a ground crew. They hiked and find me. It took them like 45 minutes to get to me. They couldn't get me up. Finally, they sent in Life Flight. Life Flight zip lines me up to a hovering helicopter, takes me to the hospital, where I find out I broke my back.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a lot of thinking time. And what I thought was I need to fix my life because it looks so pretty from the outside. I mean, I married my high school sweetheart. We have 4 beautiful kids. I have this huge, successful real estate company. But this chronic pain that I have, it won't go away. And the high school sweetheart, he's so annoying. I don't even like him anymore. How do I fix that? I want to like him. I really do. And this redhead bad temper, how do I get rid of this? And this career that's so successful, I don't even like it. What do I do about that? And I mean, the list just went on and on and on. And I laid there in bed. Thankfully, I wasn't paralyzed. I was just broken. I lay there thinking, how do I fix this? Because my whole life I've been putting on a happy face and having a positive mental attitude and saying affirmations and faking it till I make it, but I'm just faking it. And I want to be happy. What is missing? I mean, I even have a good religious foundation. Like, I have all the things. What is missing in my life? What is the problem? And, they said I'd be laying there for about 6 weeks, and it turned into almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know why it turned into 3 years? Because if I would have gotten better, I would have gotten back out of bed and I would have done all the same things that were keeping me in pain and unhappy.
So here's the question that I have. I mean, you talk about your childhood and struggles you had with your mom and so forth. You talk about you have this deep religious background. You talk about all of these things. What did you discover as far as those imprints subconsciously in your mind, whether it be from, and what I've discovered is it can be the environment, it can be parents, it can be school, it can be religion, it can be friends, it can be all of those things. What did you discover while you had those 3 years to think as far as what was affecting you and what were you allowing to affect your life?
Yeah. Well, I wish I came up with it on my own, but I didn't. I was introduced to a medical doctor named Dr. Warren Jacobs, and he literally lived about a mile from my house. And I was referred to him. I was trying everything to get better. I mean, chiropractor and acupuncture, massage and physical therapy. And after 2 years, major surgery, rods, screws, synthetic disc, nothing's helping. And I hear that this guy is like a miracle worker, and I didn't know what he did, but I knew he's a medical doctor. And so I went over there and he told me I could heal myself with my mind. And I said, what kind of medical doctor are you? What are you talking about? And he used muscle testing, applied kinesiology. I was familiar with muscle testing. My dad's a chiropractor. He used muscle testing. And if your audience doesn't know what that is, it's basically like a biofeedback test. Super simple. You put out your arm, you say something, somebody presses on your arm. If what you say is true to you, your arm stays up. If it's not true to you, your arm goes down. It's like the best lie detector test ever. I use it on all my children, even my husband sometimes. So he was using this muscle testing on me, but my dad used it to find where people were, their spine was out of alignment, where there was a subluxation. That's how I knew muscle testing. This doctor used it to question me. What is happening? Why are you in pain? You broke your back 3 years ago. How come you still can't sit in a chair? What is going on? And just like I alluded to in the beginning, it was the tension in my mind, just like you talked about with the TMJ, what's causing this tension, right? And so he said, if you lift weights, your biceps are going to start to burn. And if you keep lifting, they're going to keep burning. But if you just stop it, after a couple seconds, it stops burning. He said, you have so much tension in your mind from your past that you're tensing your back and you don't even realize it. And so it feels like it's on fire, it's burning. And he would say, stop it. And I would literally touch my back. It doesn't feel tight. I don't feel like I'm squeezing it or tensing it. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure? I don't think it's what you're thinking it is. I was really confused, but the muscle test, he kept asking me questions and testing my body. My body kept saying, no, it's your childhood. It's your marriage. It's doing a job you don't want to do. It's all these things that's causing all this pain in your body. And so he told me, let's work things out with your mom. Let's fix your marriage. How about you change careers? And I was like, oh boy, this is a lot of things. Really, we got to do all this? And yeah, we did all that. And 6 sessions later, my pain was totally gone. I mean, I could do handstands and back bends. It was a miracle.
Isn't it amazing? And I've had opportunities to study with different people. One of the particular people, a fellow by the name of Joe Dispenza, you may or may not have heard of him.
I've heard of him.
And he uses meditation, and in his week-long sessions, they literally have a number of people meditating around someone to help heal them of certain things. It's amazing to me the truth of the fact that the body can heal itself. if we
Right.
can get into the right mindset.
Yes, absolutely. The body's meant to heal, right?
What,
That's how it was
yeah,
made.
what did you discover about that?
Yeah, well, what I discovered was I actually was healed. It was the tension in my body that was hurting. Like it was 3 years ago, I broke my back and I broke a bone. A bone heals. The bone was better. And even beyond that, they did major surgery and screwed everything in place. I mean, it was fine. It looked fine on the imaging. The doctors were like, I don't know why you're hurting so much. And so what I discovered, another doctor that I love and adore, Dr. John Sarno, says that pain in the body, chronic pain in the body is from tension in the mind. It's from anger, it's from rage, it's from suppressed emotion, it's from being a go-getter and a do-gooder and a perfectionist and all these pressures in our life. It's from past traumas and dramas. It's subconscious. We hold on to it. We don't even realize. And when we can let those things go, all of a sudden the tension releases, and that's what happened to me. It was just like I stopped curling the biceps, I stopped tensing the back, and the pain was gone.
How specifically did you do that? How did you make that transformation from allowing the subconscious to control your life and the
Yeah,
movie of your life to the
yeah,
point where you have become in control of your life?
yeah. Well, it's been a lot of work, I can tell you that. Getting your mind in shape is like getting your body in shape. It's not a one and done. And once your body's in shape, you have to keep working at it, right? So that's how it was with my mind. What I did with this doctor is one thing at a time. First, the back. Let's fix the back. Okay, that's done. Now let's get rid of the pain pills. Okay, that's done. Now let's work on the marriage, right? And we just one by one worked on things. Now, after I studied with this doctor, I went and studied with a lot of other modalities of subconscious transformation and change. And in 2019, I came up with my own modality. It's called Summit Transformation. So I use my own work with myself every day. And the golden question I ask myself is, how would I rather feel right now? Or how would I rather think? Or how would I rather act? Or how would I rather react? And I created these brain exercises that repattern the subconscious mind to create that. What I discovered, I mean, the main thing that I discovered about the subconscious mind was it was controlling me. So when I would say, okay, I've got this temper in the past, not anymore. I had a temper, a really bad temper, and I would say, okay, next time my husband says that thing, whatever it was, I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to take a deep breath. I'm going to count to 10. I'm not going to get mad. He would say it, and I would be on fire immediately. And I'd get so frustrated with myself. How come I can't not be mad? How come he can just light me off like a fuse? And people would say, like, other people can't make you mad. Oh, yes, they can. That's what I thought. Oh, they sure can. Like, before I even realize it, I can, like, be coming after them so mad. And so that was a subconscious program. And so what I do all day, every day is I catch it. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? If I don't like the thought, that thought's going to create a new reality. So I'm going to change it subconsciously. I'm not just going to change the thought in my conscious mind. I'm going to change it at a cellular level so it creates a new blueprint and a new printout of my life.
Well, and what comes to my mind, and this is philosophical thought and question, so many people really focus on agency, the fact that
Yeah,
they have free agency, that they really have the choice. And yet,
yeah,
what you're talking about,
yeah,
you had no agency because you were literally being controlled by that subconscious imprint and the multiple subconscious imprints that have been
yeah,
there. So
yeah,
you talk about your summit transformation.
yeah.
And again, how do people really get to the point where they can exercise agency for themselves? And what is the process of your summit transformation so that the audience can kind of understand what that process is and then ultimately get a hold of you if they want some more help?
Yeah, I love the question. So let's talk about the 17-second rule. The 17-second rule goes like a thought is just an electrical signal in the brain. That's it for 17 seconds. But if it goes on for more than 17 seconds, it becomes a chemical reaction within your body. So you start to feel equal to the way you're thinking. When you feel equal to the way you're thinking, it attracts like thoughts to prove to you why what you're thinking and feeling is true, a feedback loop. And if this goes on for more than 68 seconds, it literally changes your energy field, which can be measured with machines nowadays. It's not just woo-woo, like literally they can measure your energy field. It changes after 68 seconds. So what you're attracting and what you're manifesting in your life changes. So my process deals with the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Conscious mind is you have to listen to what you're saying to yourself. Are you saying nobody appreciates me? I'll never achieve this goal? How come I can't get along with my husband? Why can't I lose the weight? Like, what is the story? What is the narration? And if you don't like it, you have to ask yourself, what do I want instead of that? And so then how the subconscious mind plays into it is like you're talking about, it runs these programs automatically. And they were programmed into you when you were young, like 0 to 8 years old. And no matter if it was a good or bad program, you took it as your program. You know, if you heard money is the root of all evil, even if you don't believe it, you believe it subconsciously. And you can overpower your subconscious, but only temporarily. What happens is you lose focus. Just like some people say, like, starting Monday, I'm gonna eat healthy. Like, for real this time. I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna eat healthy, I'm gonna lose the weight this time for real. And then, a day, a week or two, and they're off. What happened? They lost focus. They got busy, they went on vacation, kids came to town, whatever, and we went out to dinner, and I'll try again later. Their subconscious wasn't supporting them. The subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind. So you have to know what you want different so you can program that subconscious to be different, to have a new program. So what Summit Transformation is it's brain exercises that repattern the subconscious mind so that now when my husband says something, instead of losing my marbles and coming after him, I go, I wonder why he said that. I program my mind to be open and curious. That's my new automatic, open and curious. And you can ask him. It's been 8 years since I've been mad at him. This is the truth. Why? I got rid of that stick of dynamite in my head. It's not there anymore. It's not my program. Open and curious. And then if I'm open and curious and start to go, I don't know if I like how that went or what he said or how I feel about that, I ask myself the question, well, how would you rather feel? Loving, patient, understanding, forgiving, accepting, see it his way. Okay, program my mind for that right now. We're good. We're good.
All right. You're talking about programming as though it's really easy.
It is.
It is. Okay, then talk about the methodology. How do I program my mind? All right, so I'm experiencing all this stuff. How do I program my mind to get rid of those subconscious imprints that are not positive?
Yeah. So, I was trying to figure out a way to do this super easy for everyone in the world. And, everybody has a phone pretty much. And so I made an app. It's called Leap Transformation, and it has all my brain exercise in it. There are breaths, there are body postures, there are visualizations. They're all things that slow the brain down into a more programmable state and then open the brain bridge, the corpus callosum that separates both hemispheres of your brain. You want them together to be in a whole brain state so you can build new neural pathways that changes your cellular response. So in the app, you just put in your problem and it flips it around into the positive. It gives you a brain exercise to do, and it says like, hey, now that your brain's programmed for you to lose 20 pounds, what are you going to do about it? How about go to the gym? And you're like, well, yeah, I've done this 1,000,000 times, of course. But here's what happened. Your subconscious wasn't programmed to go to the gym. You just consciously wanted to go to the gym to hit your goal. When your subconscious is programmed, it's 1,000,000 times more powerful, and it pushes you toward your goal. So everything becomes like, how is this so much easier? It's a subconscious program now. Your life is a printout of your subconscious program. Where life is easy, you have a program that supports you. Where life is not easy, you're missing the program. So we beat ourselves up. We try to gain knowledge. It doesn't change the program. And that's what these brain exercises in the app do. Change the program.
So are you talking about meditation? You're talking about affirmations, all of the above type of thing? what type, when you talk brain exercises,
Yeah.
what are they exactly? Share 3 or 4 brain exercises with me.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, let's do one. Like color. Color repatterns the brain. How do I know? Because I hired a neuroscientist to do brain studies on these brain exercises I created. So, if you take your problem and you turn it into a positive affirmation, and you close your eyes and you take some nice slow breaths, slowing your brain down, and you start visualizing color and letting the color fill your whole being, and then letting the color fill your past, your present, your future, and then get into some type of whole brain posture where maybe your fingers are interlaced, your arms are crossed, your legs are crossed, and start repeating that affirmation once you're in that meditative theta state. It builds a new pathway in the brain. So that's an example of a brain exercise that you could do in the app.
Okay, so with the affirmation, this is something interesting I learned. I remember when I was getting certified as, quote, life coach.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about was affirmations, and how so often the words that we use in our affirmations, we really don't believe.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes the words are so important, and yet the words can contradict the very affirmations we're trying to accomplish. So what has been your process? What are your thoughts, and how do you help someone to use correct words in a correct way in an affirmation, so it's a positive effect rather than either a negative effect or just a neutral ain't gonna work?
Well, thanks to AI, it does it for them. They put in their problem and it puts it in the most beautiful affirmation for them. Gives them like 3 or 4 options, or it also lets them write their own. If they don't like the options AI comes up with, if they write their own, it tells them make it first person, present tense, positive, short, meaningful. Avoid words like no, not, don't, can't, won't. Put it in sensory language. That's what the subconscious understands. So we hope they use the AI because it'll do a really good job for them. But like you talked about, I mean, for 20 years, I stood in the mirror saying, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm terrific. And then I'd go, no, I'm not. I mean, I was totally contradicting what I was saying, but just saying a positive affirmation doesn't make it become your program, right? So it's that slowing down the brain into that more theta state, and then doing brain exercises that program the subconscious. And what happens is when you start saying it, let's say they want to achieve a business goal, they want to make, whatever, $10,000 more a month than they already are. They start saying it, they're going to be thinking, that's not possible. I can't do that. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm not sure this is going to work. By the time they're done with that brain exercise, which takes about 6 to 12 minutes, depending on which one they do, they will believe it and they'll feel the difference. They'll be like, wow, even if I just say that statement, it sounds different coming out of my mouth. It's like a whole new vibration. It's really powerful. So I love that. Don't say an affirmation, program your subconscious. That's the secret. It's 1,000,000 times more powerful. Why would you just say something that's not getting in there? I mean, it's better than complaining, sure. But you have to believe it. You have to feel it. You have to, it has to go through a process to change you. And knowledge doesn't equal change. Knowledge.
Well, and you're right. You have to have that belief. And then, as you say, which I love, is then you have to actually start to observe your behavior.
Yeah.
And if your behavior is contradicting what your affirmations are, you realize you're not getting there yet. If you start to notice your behavior is fulfilling your affirmations, one of the things I've talked about a lot, and I can get in trouble with this, but so often people keep trying to do this, do that, do this, do that in order to become, rather than, and I ask the question, is your behavior what you need to do in order to become the best person that you are? Or because of who you are, does that represent your behavior? And all of a sudden we can realize that, if my behavior, if my life experiences aren't what I want,
Yeah.
That's an internal issue that I need to take responsibility for, and then start whatever process it happens to be, such as yours, to get in there and really discover who am I. And you talk a little bit about the divine you, and I know that you have a workbook on your website with that.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, I think that that's such an important issue. So many people, have been born with the concept. And when I say born, not really, but they've been taught from a very early age that they're really, they're sinful. They're born into sin. And parents, oh, you're so stupid or whatever. They never really understand that divine self, who they really are. Talk a little bit about that in your approach to that.
Yeah. Well, in that workbook, I talk a lot about, your value and worth and trying to help people see, if you were created by God, I mean, gosh, how does it get any better than that? Right? But the workbook is really to believe in your divinity. And I know a lot of people believe a lot of different things, spiritually, religiously, and that's fine. But bottom line is you are divine. And if you believe that, you act in a totally different way than if you don't believe that. And so if I would be working with a client and they were maybe having some confidence issues or some self-esteem issues, that's one of the first things we would work on is changing that belief so that they believe they're beautiful, they're loved, they're powerful, they're divine. And I call it the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind is like your connection to God, your wisdom, your higher knowing. And that's really part of this process too. I mean, for me, I was doing real estate because it made me a ton of money. It wasn't my purpose. And I would daydream about doing something that was my purpose. And then I would get drill sergeant like with myself and say, shut up and get back to work. Like, look at your checkbook, look at all your stuff. Stop whining about your purpose and go make money. Come on now. And then I would daydream about it again. And so I was always fighting with myself. I would convince myself there's no way I can find something that's my purpose and be successful with it. Like, I don't have a degree. I've got 4 kids. I've got all these, houses and things to keep up. I can't like switch what I'm doing. I can't go back to school. Like, it's not possible. Just stop thinking about it. But there was like this pull to me, like, no, there's more. Like, this is not the right path for you. And I didn't listen until I had to, 3 years laying in bed.
Well, and after that 3 years, did you make the change?
I did. I sold my real estate company. I sold our big custom house, all our houses. We moved into one of our rentals and I started studying with that doctor, Dr. Warren Jacobs, studying all these different modalities of mind change, and then eventually, creating my own. And I just became obsessed. I couldn't believe how good I felt from the inside. It just seemed like, wow, I've been trying to be this way and I've been trying to feel this way my whole life. How is it so easy? Because my subconscious was now supporting me. And in the past, it wasn't. So I was fighting this battle I could not win. Subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful. I was always losing. It was frustrating.
Well, it's interesting as I've worked with different clients when I was doing some business consulting. It was fascinating to me. I had one particular client that when I said, what is ultimately your goal? He had a good business. It was running okay, but he wanted it to be better. And I said, what's your ultimate goal? Yeah. And he says, I just want to be able to spend more time with my family because I'm here, 10 to 12 hours a day. And when I get home, I'm tired, so on and so forth. Yeah. I said, okay, so that's your ultimate goal. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So then we worked on the business. And ultimately, the ultimate goal was to get to the point where he had more time. And he did. And his business increased along the way. And I think that, we have to realize that sometimes, and this may contradict a little bit of what you were saying, but this is just my opinion, that sometimes we say to ourselves, I hate my job. I don't like what I'm doing and so forth. And yet what they're not realizing, if they change the mindset and
Yeah.
recognize, okay, and this is where we get into balance, we get into harmonizing the whole thing of, all right, what's the purpose of my job? Well, the
Yeah.
purpose of my job is to support my family, to have time with my family. And if I'm spending so much time at my job, yeah, that has to be reevaluated. But I think sometimes being able to just mindset change to the point where I realize, you know what, my job is what produces income. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if I can change my mindset to realize that my values are my family, my,
Yeah.
my spouse, all of those type of things, then all of a sudden the stress of the job is kind of pushed away because you now have accepted the mindset that this is something that I just need to do. I may not love it, but you know what? It's allowing me to spend time with the family. It's allowing me to do these things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's free agency, like you mentioned, right? We can choose. And I ask my client when they come to me and they're stressed out at work, I'm like, do you want to change how you feel at your current job? Do you want to get a new job? Do you want to change professions or fields? Like, it is up to you. And some people are like, I want to do something totally different. Perfect. Let's do that. Somebody might say, I just want to like it. I just want to be at peace and comfortable and happy while I'm there. Perfect. Let's do that. So like you said, it's all the mindset for sure. And for me, I felt like I was doing the wrong thing. And so there was that internal knowing like, okay, this was great for 13 years, and now it's time to move on. Now it's time to do something different, something that you're passionate about.
I totally get it. When I was
Yeah.
living in Idaho, I did real estate for 7
Okay.
years,
Okay.
and we had some good times.
Yes.
When I moved to another state, they say, Harry, can you get back into real estate again? I'm going, no way. I want nothing to do with it.
7 years was enough.
7 years was enough. So
Yes,
I
it's
get
a tough
that.
field. Yeah.
So you've written a book, right?
I've written 3 books actually.
Okay.
Yes.
What's the latest?
Yeah, the latest is Your Amazing Itty Bitty Magic Mind book.
All right. What does it talk about?
Yeah, it talks about 15 secrets to wellness and success. So it's a literal itty bitty book. It's really small. It has 15 2-page chapters. So I'm like, okay, let's condense this. I'm a fan of Cliff Notes, anything to make shorter, easier, faster. I teach one brain exercise. I teach my process, listen to yourself the 17 seconds. Put it in a positive affirmation, do the brain exercise, take action, breaks it all down.
Great. And when you talk about the brain exercise, and I go back into this, is how important is what we would call meditation in this?
Yeah.
And that's something that takes practice, that takes something that takes a bit of commitment. But what does meditation do? How does that relax your mind to the point where you're all able to do these brain exercises?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question because I do not consider my work meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and I personally don't meditate. So what I do is these brain exercises that are very specific to a goal. So, what do you want different in your life? If you want to get along with your spouse, okay, let's do a brain exercise that'll help you get along with your spouse. Now, in order to do a brain exercise, yes, you close your eyes and you're thinking of a specific thing. You're doing certain body postures and motions and movements to retrain your brain. You're getting your brain into a more theta state. And so you can't really program your subconscious mind in a high beta state. If I'm here talking and excited and like my brain is not programmable right now, right? I'm
Right.
thinking, I'm speaking, but if I just sit for a second and close my eyes, it's pretty amazing how fast your brain can slow down. And when I hired a famous neuroscientist to study my work, he put all the electrodes on my head and he goes, "Oh, you're a meditator." And I said, "No, I'm not. I mean, I do brain exercises." And he's like, "Same difference."
Yeah, and that's what that was my point, is it
Yeah.
is the same difference. You call it different things, but the reality is that you are getting yourself to the point, as you say, into that theta state, maybe
Yeah.
alpha, but if you can get into the theta, that's great. And
Right.
that's where the body is able to relax, the mind's able to relax, and you're able then to move forward with
Yeah.
your brain exercises and your
Right.
affirmations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this has been fascinating, Jenny.
Thank you.
Uh, how do people find you?
Yeah, if they want to go to my website, it's called balancedyou.org. And I say the best thing to do is go get my app. It's in the App Store, it's in the Play Store. It's called Leap Transformation. It's a week free trial, and then it's only $14.99 a month. You can carry me around in your pocket whenever you're feeling or thinking or acting or reacting or experience life in a way you don't like. Pull out the app, sit down for 10, 15 minutes and fix it, and then go on with your day. You can start with it. You can pull it up in the morning and it'll ask you, do you want to feel different or achieve a goal or work on personal growth? What's the problem you're trying to solve? It'll help you do it. It'll set your day in the right trajectory. So get the app, Leap Transformation. It's powerful, but you have to use it like a gym membership, right?
Yeah,
You got to
yeah,
use
you
it.
have to use it. So,
You have to use it.
so as you think about the folks that are listening today, what
Yeah.
would be a message that you'd like to share with them that will help them to remember?
Help them to remember to use this work to.
Yeah, or something that will impact them to cause them to
Yeah.
desire to use it. But yeah, what would that message be to the people?
Yeah. The basis of my work is changing a belief. Like Henry Ford says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And so if something is not working out in your life, there's a lack of belief. And so you have to change the belief. But how do you change the belief? You have to change the subconscious mind. You have to make the belief automatic so that you can achieve the goal. So what can you do to change the belief? Well, of course, you can do a brain exercise and then take action. What steps can you take to believe in your goal? Maybe look for someone who's achieved the goal. When somebody else has done it, you can do it too. How can you believe that? So changing belief is so powerful, especially with the subconscious mind.
Oh, great. Jenny, thanks so much. This has been fascinating. I appreciate you being on the show. I'm glad we were able to put it together.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And folks, hey, thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it and look forward to having you join us again soon. This is Dr. Doug saying namaste.
Namaste.